Well, hello, and good afternoon, everyone. I hope everybody is having a great Saturday so far. My name is Don Terrell, and I want to welcome you to another great episode of The Color of Motion, where I like to say, stories come in all shades. And I highlight people of color in diverse backgrounds in the industry of motion graphics, animation, visual effects, cartoons, and comics. And if you're like me, I know you are super excited about this next episode. I know I've been looking forward to sitting down with my friend and chopping it up for a little bit now. But before we dive into the show, just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. If you're one of those ones that loves to check out the show from Facebook, make sure that you join the new Facebook group community, facebook.com/groups/. The Color of Motion, where we'll be having engaging conversation and sharing industry news. But starting next month, the show will be broadcast from the group page on Facebook. So I definitely don't want you to miss out on any of the great new episodes coming up. So make sure you get connected, engaged, and be a part of that community for sure. Also, make sure that you tune in or connect with me on my social channels. You can find me on all my social channels here. Make sure you connect, follow, engage with me. I definitely want you to be a part of the community moving forward. And you can find me on all of these channels here for sure. Again, if you are one of those ones that loves to check out the show from Facebook or LinkedIn, I always highly suggest that people go over to my YouTube channel. Uh, Hit the bell notification, give a thumbs up, comment on the videos, subscribe, so that you don't miss out on any great new episodes. You can follow me at Don Terrell. Or youtube.com/Don Terrell. You can find me there on all the channels for sure. So what else is there? Oh, and like I said, we are starting to implement some new things for the show. So definitely want to keep you abreast of all the new things that we have planned. We're going to be rolling out the new website within the next couple of weeks, colorofmotion.net. Also rolling out swag items for the show, giving the guests swag bags to thank them for being guests on the show, and also making it available to you either for purchase, or we're going to have cool contests and giveaways. So I definitely want to make sure that you're a part of the community so you don't miss out. Let's see. Also, we're looking for sponsors for the show, looking to level up, continue to level up the show. So we are looking to get sponsors on the show, and people that kind of support the show. My thing's coming in a little late. Kind of support the show for sure. And we definitely want to give a shout out to people that support the show. We have a tip jar set up so that if you are inclined to donate a few dollars here and there for us to continue to level it up, we want to give you a shout out as well. So, all the people that support the show, we're going to be giving you a shout out here, thanking you for your support. So, your name could go there. So, if you are interested in a sponsorship opportunity, please connect with me, contact me. Love to have you as part of the show and give you a shout out for sure. So with that, I'm not going to take any further time because, like I said, I've been looking forward to this interview for quite a while, and looking forward to sitting down with my next guest because he's super talented and got a lot of great things going on. So without further ado, my next guest has been a 3D and VFX animator for 17 plus years. He's also founded and teaches at an online animation school, Griffin Animation Academy, for the last 3 years. He's also animated on a number of well-known, and a lot of them are personal favorites of mine, films such as Godzilla versus Kong, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Pacific Rim Uprising, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, Jurassic World, Furious 7, The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, and The Desolation of Smaug. The Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Amazing Spider-Man, and so many more. Please, everybody, help me welcome again my friend and guest, Mr. Eddie Chu.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you, crowd.
We want to bring you on right.
Okay.
We always bring our guests on right. Eddie, like I said, I've been looking forward to sitting down and talking with you ever since we connected. Like I said, I saw your animation work. It was just blown away by your work, and just super, super excited to sit down and talk with you, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. And I know we spoke a couple of months ago, and we just kind of stayed in touch.
Yep.
But yeah, it's nice to finally be on.
I appreciate that. Before we dive in, I want to let people see your work because, like I said, you've done such amazing work. So before we dive into the interview, let's take a moment and check out some of Eddie's work. some amazing, amazing work there, Eddie. And like I said, just blown away. I do have to say
Thank you, mate.
that yours is one of the shortest and most concise bios. So I'm gonna ask you kind of how you got started. What started your passion for animation and visual effects as a kid growing up?
I guess it started a lot from drawing dinosaurs and Transformers. That's where my, um, I guess, I used to watch a lot of cartoons when I was, probably 5, 6 growing up, and we only had one or two channels in Australia. So we got a lot of, I remember, Transformers and dinosaur shows, and I had lots of dinosaur books. So I used to just draw those every day. And as I got older, I got into more comic books, a lot of Marvel, DC,
Yeah.
um, but a lot of Marvel. So obviously, working on Marvel films later on is a dream come true. But I used to think I was going to be a comic book artist.
Uh,
Um, yeah, I didn't quite understand what animation was at the time. So for me, it was just drawing. Drawing made a lot of sense, and then that kind of turned into um, it. I discovered 3D in university. So I was studying a multimedia degree, Bachelor of Arts. Um, so that kind of covered a range of multimedia, and there was a unit in there. I guess we call it a unit. A course in there on CG, Intro to 3D, and this was like in 2000.
yeah.
Um, like I think Toy Story had just come out a few years before, and Blizzard were making cinematics. So I was then starting to discover like filmmaking in 3D and animation,
Yeah.
and then that kind of kickstarted everything, and I kind of ditched drawing. Actually, put that aside. Just went headfirst into 3D
uh, so, oh, he
animation was.
good. Uh, hopefully, he kind of froze. He froze a little there. Uh,
Sorry, my connection.
no, I
Am I
understand,
back?
and we all know you're at the mercy of the internet and your connection of how it goes. Um, so I appreciate that. If we do have technical difficulties, people just understand that that's a part of it. I'm curious. You said you ditched or you kind of moved away from drawing. So do you not use kind of that drawing skill when it comes to animatics and putting forward, putting together your animation, or do you just strictly
Mhm.
dive right into the computer and work it out from there?
No, I do a lot of. Actually, no. I was going to say I do a lot of thumbnails and sketches. I probably do more descriptive kind of breakdowns of shots and stick figures. So the drawings I do, I guess, are a bit more action and dynamic, which has been helpful, yes,
Yeah,
from what I've learned growing up. But my focus isn't, form or
yeah,
not really anatomy or even style. It's just clear and precise and descriptive for myself or another person watching
yeah.
or reading that can actually use that as a template to then create a shot.
Got you, got you. I'm curious, how were how influential or what bigger role did your parents kind of play in fostering, you know, this love for what you do, or did they kind of understand, oh, well, he loves
Mm-hmm.
art, this could take him somewhere kind of thing, or did they want you to kind of go down a more traditional sort of route? I'll put that up there.
Yeah, yeah. It's they definitely wanted me to become a doctor or a violinist, but I think they also understood where my passion was and what I was good at. Um, like growing up, I was very outdoorsy. Like I love sports,
Hmm.
and at the same time, I love to be in my room and just draw for hours, and then go take a break and run outside. So in that sense, I wasn't very studious. Yeah, I had my two at the time as a kid passions: sport and drawing.
Yeah.
So I think as I got older, they realized and accepted that's kind of who I was. And after I started working as an animator, making a living, getting paid for it, being able to afford rent, I think then they realized, okay, he's on all right.
He said he's not coming back home for us, so yeah, he's
Yeah,
doing all right.
yeah.
So
He needs
who?
grocery money too. We'll just wait it out.
Yeah. So who was kind of your biggest role model in helping you along in your skill and passion? Would you say?
For animation,
Yeah, for animation, as you started to, okay, this is what I really want to do and really am good at doing. Did you have kind of like mentors or anybody that you really kind of looked towards or helped you really hone your skill?
there was no one specific individual. Early on, when I discovered it around 2000, it was a lot. A lot of it was on the internet, like tutorials, written tutorials. There wasn't YouTube at the time. There was
Yeah.
no video tutorials, so a lot of it was me just mucking around in at the time 3D Max. I use Maya now, but it was me just creating short films for myself and just learning through that process. But actually, a couple of big influences were game cinematics like Blizzard
Yeah.
cinematics. World of Warcraft 3 trailer had come out, and I had seen nothing like it at the time. It just blew my mind. It was like this CG movie, but it wasn't on TV and it
Yeah.
wasn't on the theaters. So I was like, what the hell is this? I got to do this. So I went and figured out what it was. And I was playing Final Fantasy at the time. I didn't play games anymore, but
Yeah.
that game I remember playing, um, and they were throwing game cinematics into the storytelling,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it was really immersive. And again, I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just figured it out.
And I tell people a lot that now games are getting, like you just said, so cinematic. They're almost, the budget for them is almost as big as some of the films you see coming out, and they put in
Mhm.
so much work in just the cinematic trailer for the game. You know.
Yeah, and I hear that a lot of the budget's pretty high to get A-list actors and voice talent. The marketing, like it's just yeah, full blown like multi-million-dollar production, and it
Yeah.
looks like it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's a bigger industry than the film industry.
Yeah,
Games.
yeah. I've had a couple of game people on, developers and animators, and
Hmm.
yeah, they say the same thing. The gaming industry is financially wise bigger than the film
Yeah,
industry. So it's like I said, and you're seeing such amazing 3D and game graphics starting to come out. So, what was your first, I guess, professional gig that you got, and what was your kind of you know mindset going into your first big feature film type of project?
I can tell you my first gig and how it led up to feature films.
Yeah,
So my plan was to work in feature films as a VFX animator at some point, but it's really hard to just jump right into it. So I started in an IT company just building CG characters. I wasn't even an animator at the time. It was me just loving the whole process of 3D and building characters and just seeing like the results of something creative, lighting,
Yeah.
rigging, modeling, sculpting, and then from there I wanted to work in a TV pipeline or a film pipeline. So then I applied for this kids TV show. It's called Animalia. It's an Australian kids TV show, and I hadn't really done animation before that, but I was hired as an animator. So once I started animating, I then realized I love animation, and again, I kind of ditched everything else, 3D, and just focused on animation. Um, yeah, and then from there, I just realized you got to specialize to get better, and then I then focused on getting into the feature films, and it took me about from that first job to my first feature film was about 5 or 6 years,
Okay.
um, and that was really just focused, kind of like goal setting, I guess, to get into feature films.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit more about, Griffin Academy that you started. But is that your kind of thing that you preach to the students to really niche down into one thing or another that they're going to do, um, and one type of animation that they're going to do?
Yes, exactly. I tell them I tell them the same thing, yes, but I also tell them to more specifically to cater their demo reels because every animator needs a demo reel.
Yeah.
That's how you showcase your work. So I break it down to another level where I tell them to animate and create shots that they want to work on, for the next 10 years, 20 years.
Mm.
So if you want to animate dragons, for example, don't go animating, fish or cats, and and cross your fingers hoping to get a dragon project. So you really have to show the people who are looking for dragon animators
Yeah.
that you can animate a dragon
Dragon.
because they're taking a risk. They're guessing, um, after talking to you, if you can do it or not. And it really is just, it's a guess. If they haven't worked with you before, they're banking on your
Yeah.
abilities to animate that dragon.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think that's much better, um, than coming in like, or the approach maybe some schools take as far as a generalist, being able to do a lot of different things, or do you think that's more just a personal preference for the animator? If that's what you want to animate, then that's what you should put out, as opposed to being putting out all kinds of different styles animation on what you want to do.
Yeah, I'd say that would definitely help. If you want to animate a VFX dragon as opposed to a cartoony kids TV show dragon, that's definitely like decide which one you want, because it's two different styles and it's two different levels of quality, of standard of
Yeah.
animation, um, and that's just the reality of it. So that's just how they see it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's been for you kind of the biggest lesson that you've learned, um, along so far in your journey, that's kind of served you?
Let's see. There's been a lot. Guess I've been doing this a while.
Yeah.
Um, I guess the ones we mentioned, that's a pretty big one. And just to answer your question before, it is handy to have a bit of knowledge of other departments. If you know a bit of modeling and texturing, lighting,
Yeah.
all of that stuff definitely helps. Rigging. You'll find that even though we're hired as animators, we still are required a lot of times to quickly set up shots and present your shots, and that requires quickly bringing in trees, rocks, whatever that you got to quickly build, or even cameras, understanding camera movements. That's a lot of that is filmmaking. That could be something I've learned as well is um, not just relying on animation to be a good animator.
Yeah.
And it's something I teach as well at Griffin Animation Academy is you need to have an understanding of filmmaking, camera movements,
Yeah.
um, yeah, storytelling, all of that comes into play, and not just your technical ability to animate.
Yeah.
The 12 principles of animation can only get you so far
Yeah.
to be a
Yeah.
good animator.
Yeah. And on that note, I want to show some of the work coming out from the students of Griffin Academy because, like I said, I want to talk a little bit more about that because as I watched a lot of the work coming out, there were some things that kind of just stuck out to me from the shots that I was seeing from a lot of your students. So let's take a moment, check out some of the awesome work that's coming from the students out of Griffin Academy, and then we'll come back and dive into that a little. Like I said, such awesome work from the students coming
Thank you,
out of
mate.
there. And what stuck out to me was, uh, like I said, the shot seems to be such action movement oriented, and also like you were mentioning before, real cognizant of camera angle and where the camera was during the shot. Is that obviously something that's intentional that you're teaching the students in the school?
Yeah, definitely. Again, I look at filmmaking and cinematography and finding ways of making a shot more interesting, and that's through camera movement. I always feel like if you put a still camera on a well animated shot, it's still going to feel like a student exercise. It's still going to feel like you're practicing. So if you start to create a relationship of a camera and a character and how they're kind of working together to create something that flows, that's dynamic, that's exciting, then it's just much more interesting for the audience.
Yeah.
And essentially, that's what we're creating in the end. And also, that helps with the hiring process. You put
Yeah.
that in your demo reel, recruiters, supervisors see that. They just know you're more than an animator. You're a
Animator.
filmmaker and a storyteller.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And was that something that took you a little bit, getting through a couple of feature films or doing film projects, or was that something early on, even on the early jobs that you did, being cognizant of that, or was that, like I said, something that a director of a film would be more cognizant of you learning that type of, or being aware of that type of thing?
Yeah, it took me a few projects. It took me a couple of years. I always thought I would just animate, like just give me a character and just animate it.
Yeah.
I don't want to touch the camera. And then there was a few projects where I needed to really understand camera. So I started to learn it, but I was resistant to it. Um, and but then after a while, I was realizing, okay, I'm learning something here. I'm I'm creating the shot. I'm not just creating what's happening in it. I'm helping the director design a sequence for the film. And I realized more projects went on. They relied on more of us to work on the cameras and to design more shots. And I was starting to enjoy it, and I wanted to pass it on as well. Because no one told me that. I just kind of, through a lot of resistance and eventually just giving in, and then I was like, okay, this is important and this is fun. So
Well, do you find that your students now pick up on it and enjoy it a lot quicker than say you did when you started? Is it easier for them to get into the whole process of working with the camera and the characters at the same time and all the elements?
yeah, they definitely accept it from the beginning. They actually look for that specifically as well when they're starting the course. A lot of them, like myself, are afraid of using the camera in the beginning, and but we also understand the importance of it and the power that it can bring with the shot. So a lot of them do ask for that knowledge as well and that training, and that's where I teach them to marry it together.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, what was your initial reasoning for wanting to start Griffin Academy? I mean, when you thought about it, what was your reason for wanting to put together an online school?
There's a couple of reasons. One of them was I found that accessibility for training when I was starting out was very limited. And in Australia, I was born and raised in Australia.
Yeah,
The industry was very small at the time. There was no VFX, there was no animation studios, and I really wanted to work for these big studios, like Sony, for example. Spider-Man had just come out, and I was like, I'm working there one day. So,
and you
and I was like,
did.
but how do I do it? So I'm trying to bridge that gap, especially for like advancement in like being able to work remote now.
Yeah,
So there's webcams, the internet's faster. So accessibility is one. I wanted to just help. Well, I like creating action shots, right? And
yeah,
that's apparent from our showreel,
yeah,
which will
yeah,
be released next month. Um, so I wanted to pass that information on as well to animators who are willing to learn, because a lot of online schools, I feel, are just teaching character animation,
mm,
which is important. Um, but what if I, was looking for an animation school now and wanting to learn an action shot or cameras and storytelling and
yeah,
creatures and things like that. So I kind of created this course for a younger me,
yeah.
really.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
here I definitely get that, and it's interesting because I was at Comic Palooza or last a few days ago, and there was a VFX animator on there doing a panel, and he was talking about a lot of the online schools and how he originally
Mhm.
got started, in the space, going to the Art Institute, and the difference between the teachers. And he was talking, and which was an appeal that I liked when I was looking at a lot of online schools for animation and stuff. The instructors were working professionals in
Mhm.
studios. Is that something that you're conscious of for Griffin, that the instructors are actual people working at studios now, but are giving their time and talent to teach others?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, when I was studying and I was looking for these mentors, they were at the time looking to break into the industry as well, and having motivation and energy and questions. I didn't know where to turn, so that's very very important, I think. And I feel you know just the whole master apprentice kind of scenario doesn't really exist as it
Yeah.
used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of that relationship and training is kind of lost. So I'm hoping to bring some of this back.
Got you, got you. For those just joining on, I'm sitting down with my good friend Mr. Eddie Chu, founder and character animator with Griffin Animation Academy. They have which I'm looking forward to, have a lot of great new courses, affordable courses coming out, and super excited about that. But what was your biggest challenge starting the Griffin Academy? I mean, because you're seeing a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of online schools starting to crop up, and now that people are wanting to kind of learn online and the accessibility, like you said, what was your biggest challenge? Putting it all together.
Curriculum and being structured, and really, yeah, we just well, we I say me and my girlfriend, she helped with the curriculum and writing it out and making sure there was structure to everything. If I did it myself, it would have been just chaos. It would have made no sense. I would have just been winging it the whole time for the last 3 years, really.
Oh man.
But this, she also helped me with the marketing and the social
Yeah.
media, and she said just put things out there one at a time, even if it's just one course. And even if you just get one student a month, build from there,
Yeah.
and just be continuous with your posts and
Yeah.
things like that. And I just did what I knew, which was animation, and just passing that on.
Yeah.
So the quality just came out from that.
So was it? I mean, I, I'm assuming it's not just you instructing all the classes. Everybody, you got different instructors that are teaching things, right? Or is it
Actually, it
just
is
you?
just
Okay.
me right now. I did have a mate teach one or two classes, but right now it's just me running the show, and but I have more other artists helping in other departments such as effects and lighting. But yeah, I'm just
And
right
I
now
was
it's just
gonna
me.
say, is it hard? I mean, you've been in the industry for, like I said, 17 plus years. So is it, and you got a pool of people that you've worked with, obviously, that have a lot of skills. Is it hard kind of getting them on your kind of vision of what you're wanting Griffin Online Academy to be, or, Griffin Animation Academy to be,
Mhm.
and bringing them on as instructors?
I it, Sometimes it takes a bit of kind of hurting, I guess, but in the end, no. They're all pretty receptive, and I think they all trust me in where I want to take things.
Yeah.
I did have an idea and a vision early on of what I wanted it to be, and I think they're all pretty cool with that. So I
Gotcha.
just have to really just explain it, and yeah, everyone's cool.
Yeah.
I think I also look for that when I hire people, when I outsource work.
Yeah.
I look to see if we get along, because that's important.
Yeah.
Teamwork, communication.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, to that point, kind of moving into uh, one, your background and where you come from. Did you find that? one being from Australia. I'm I'm assuming your parents moved to Australia. I mean, or are you where are your parents originally from? With the last name Chu, I'm assuming, and I don't want to assume, but
Well, my grandparents from China, and
okay.
during the Second World War, they had to flee and they ended up in Christmas Island. Christmas Island is a small island below Indonesia, Singapore, I think, and it used to belong to Singapore, I believe, and now it belongs to Australia. So that's how I became Australian. So my parents were born there, and then
Okay.
they ended up moving over to um, Australia.
So do you feel like with your background and kind of your family background that that's kind of giving you a little unique perspective? We're starting to see a lot more diverse content creators starting to come out, starting to get into studios, starting to tell uh, many different kind of stories. Um, do you feel like your kind of heritage and background is kind of giving you a little unique perspective in the industry, or has it hurt you in any way, or given you any challenges in any way?
Yeah, I don't think it's yeah, I don't think it's done either. To be honest, it's um, only because I grew up in a small mining town in the north of Australia, so there really wasn't any. There weren't many Asian
Yeah.
families there, so I guess for me everything was through influences were through TV and movies. Um, I used to love martial arts movies.
Mm,
So that was very kinetic, a lot of like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Van Damme,
yeah.
like just everything, right? Even the B grade stuff. Like I would just watch it all, and so I used to love fight scenes. I used to love punching and kicking,
Yeah. Yeah.
backflips, front flips, all of it, rolling. So I feel like maybe that has more influence
Yeah.
on what I did, just stuff I watched,
Yeah.
the stuff
Yeah.
I've read.
Are you cognizant, or are you gonna be kind of cognizant of that moving forward as it pertains to Griffin Academy and the instructors that you're bringing in? Just different types of instructors to bring a different uh, perspective and flavor. Of course, all that still kind of go under, the overall, theme and mission of what Griffin Academy is doing. But do you feel that's an important thing, for your as a one as an industry, and then two as your academy specifically?
You mean like having
Because
specific
that,
skills
yeah,
in?
well, different skills, but like I said, when I was looking at, you know, different online schools, that I was thinking about online animation, you
Mhm.
know, um, academies and schools that I was going to go to, that was the thing that kind of struck out to me was like, wow, they don't have one black animator or you know Asian, or all I saw was one type, and it was like, well, you know, it brings a different for me. It brings a different, and I think it does for anybody that I guess is coming from a different kind of background. It brings a different flavor
Mhm.
when you can see, okay, somebody that's in the industry that looks like me that is doing it makes
Mhm.
it more appealing for them and makes it more accessible in their mind that they can actually achieve it. Of course, they got to have the skill of what they're teaching and doing, but that was the thing that kind of stuck out to me as I was looking at different schools. It was like, well, I didn't, you know, all they had, you know, not that their work was bad or anything like that, but it's just I didn't see anybody that you know looked like me or represented me that
Hmm.
was teaching in
Yeah.
teaching the courses.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's super important. That's actually something I've been thinking about, and um, just work I've been developing as well as I've gotten older. Um, like me and my girlfriend have been definitely more like looking at that diversity. She's white and I'm Asian, so we're developing stories about interracial, couples,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
um, and I've started to create characters that look more Asian. So definitely, I think it's important. And you made a good point about not seeing anyone that you recognize or anyone that looks like yourself. Or like when I was watching movies
yeah,
growing up, I didn't see any Asian male leads in dramatic roles. Maybe in martial arts movies,
yeah.
yes.
More the
Um,
stereotypical type of things that you would
yeah,
think.
yeah,
Um,
but it
and
didn't break away from that, right?
yeah,
So that was the problem.
yeah, and and like I said, which is kind of the you know uh, overall reason of why I wanted to do the show is that it shows people that look like you that are doing what you want to do that are successful at it. And I think and to that point, a lot more studios now. I mean, we're starting to, of course, it's a big surge in diversity and really, having a more diverse look. But it's a power, especially for me and really people that you don't typically see in that space. It's a powerful image when you see, like I said, okay, they got pretty diverse faculty there that
Hmm.
can speak to if I have an issue or challenge or I'm thinking a certain way or a different way, they kind of get. Um,
Hmm.
and I would hope more, and it's unfortunate, because of the, social climate that it took that to kind of get people more aware that diversity, the more diversity you are, the stronger you are, the more powerful you are because you're coming from a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different, points of view. And I was just curious, is that something that you're wanting to really do more of as you grow Griffin Academy? Um,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like I was saying. There's ideas and stories um, that I'm working on that show, diversity, that show more um, Asian characters, females as well.
yeah,
Females, women have also fighting this battle, I
yeah,
guess, if you want to
it's,
call it a battle.
it's
So, you know, definitely wanting to include more of everyone.
gotcha,
That's for
gotcha.
sure.
I'm
I think it's
curious,
super important.
what would what's the impact and legacy you would hope to leave, as you move forward and maybe once you're done, and gone on, what would be the impact and legacy that you would hope to have left behind?
Right now, I'm just hoping for everyone who wants to take my courses, to really be able to learn animation, find again accessibility to it first of all, but also I'm trying to teach not just animation, but also how to learn
Yeah,
animation, how to learn, like you're trying to learn how you learn,
yeah,
because that's very important. You can just be given information, you can be given videos, but if you don't know how to apply it, if you don't know how to process information, if you don't know how to apply it, if you don't know how
yeah,
to retain it, it's kind of pointless.
yeah,
You're just watching, you just it's like a empty, viewing. You're just
yeah,
watching nothing.
yeah,
Um, so there really is a process to becoming, I guess, a good learner.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
hoping to help people with that.
Well, do you feel, and to that point, do you feel there are certain characteristics that make it easier for others to pick it up, or are there certain characteristics of an animator per se, or do you feel like anybody can take your course or dive into it and come out with practice and time, of course, as a great animator? Is it something that's learnable, or is there just some things that are just hard, or you know having a hard time
Hmm.
coming in? Someone that has a hard time just getting it, a student that has a really hard challenge just picking it up and getting it.
I think any skill can be learned. Um, any skill is, yeah, definitely learnable through repetition for sure. But some people learn better through audio, by listening. Some people learn better through visual by watching. Some through doing it, actually just getting your hands dirty. I'm a combination, so I start off as more like visual and doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of hammering my way through until something's done. But I kind of thought, okay, it's not sustainable, so I kind of figured out how I like to learn, and I think it's different for everyone. Um, and it's definitely also based on their motivations and their goals as well and what they want out of it. Um, you know, everyone wants results fast. Everyone thinks Griffin's a magic pill, and you just take it, and you're,
Yeah.
the best animator in the world that ever existed.
Yeah.
But you, yeah, sometimes a goal is there for you to aim at. I guess you don't necessarily have to achieve that and hit that goal and check it off.
Yeah.
It's there for you to point your compass at
Yeah.
and just go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how we strive for excellence.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I definitely agree with you in the fact that, everybody thinks that, they want that quick, easy type of, okay, like I said, I've taken this course. I should be able to, get right into Pixar or Disney or Sony right
Yeah,
off the
exactly.
bat. We're this kind of, quick, immediate type of culture. Everybody, and it's not just animation, it's everything. Fast food, everybody wants everything right now, as
Hmm.
opposed to taking the time to really make something of quality or get something of quality. So I
Hmm.
definitely understand and feel you there. Um, what would be the best advice that you would give someone interested in wanting to do? If someone came to you and said, I'm interested in doing what you do, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give them?
First of all, Griffin Animation Academy courses aren't quite for beginners yet. The curriculum is kind of for juniors to mids who want to elevate and get to the next level, but they have previous experience in at least messing with Maya or some 3D program. They understand the animation principles. So I'm not there to teach, the lingo and the
Yeah,
what each word means.
yeah,
I'm just going to throw them at you,
yeah,
and so you have to kind of go with that pace. Um, so that would be one of them. And the other thing is to really know what your goals are. Again, I mentioned that before.
yeah,
To really understand what you want out of the course. The course isn't for everyone. I mean, it could be,
yeah,
but like a lot of people just don't want to animate action shots. People want to animate and work at Pixar
yeah,
or
yeah.
DreamWorks, and that's awesome. But that's not
Not what
something
you're
you can
teaching.
find at Griffin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like you said, it's your course and uh, academy is really like for juniors and up. So would you say that somebody that just interested, is it good for them to, um, like I said, just say jump on YouTube and start learning different or a specific program, or just finding a 3D program just to get themselves in the know
Hmm.
of 3D and the lingo as you said it?
Yeah, you can definitely get familiar by just mucking around with Maya, for example, every day for an hour. I used to, again, I used to create short films for myself. A sequence of 5 to 10 shots, and I would just be learning different techniques along the way. And that's one way to learn is just to have an output of shots. And then the idea of that is to put it in your demo reel as well. This is when you're looking for a job and you just graduated. Um, yeah, you can definitely squeeze in a few hours a day of training when you're first starting out.
Yeah.
I did it. I did it in between studying and eating cans of tuna when I was a poor student because I wanted to do it. I thought it was worth it.
And it's funny because, like you said, it takes commitment really in one knowing where you're wanting to go and what you're wanting to do, and that was one of the things that the guy at Comic Palooza was talking about. Um, as he was, getting into the industry, he would say, a lot of his friends would, you know, be on him and say, "Oh, you're lucky," or this and that. And while they were telling him how many hours did you spend on Netflix watching movies, he said, "No, I spent my time learning my craft late night. That's why I've gotten to the place that I've gotten, and really putting in the time and the effort of knowing where you want to go and put the work in." So I think a lot of people don't quite get, like I said, they see the
Mhm.
end result, but unless they watch the behind the scenes or really see how long it takes to really put
Mhm.
something together and to put, like I said, shots like, what you've done and what the students done, it's really, really hard to animate something in a believable way that people, like I said, look at, and it's a fluid thing. I mean, it's easy to animate, but it's really hard to animate an emotion and character and movement that's believable, that just, when people watch it, they don't think about it because it's such a fluid movement that a normal person would make. Most people don't understand that takes a lot, and it takes a lot of time.
It does, yeah. Animation is already time consuming when you know what you're doing. So learning animation, um, it feels like it takes forever, but if you're enjoying it, you're gonna love the journey. And I actually used to play a lot of video games
Hmm.
before I started animation, started learning animation, and I realized playing games was taking up too much time, so I just gave it up. I just got rid of it, and then actually I tend to do that a lot now, just ditch stuff. But I got rid of that, put animation training in its place for myself,
Yeah.
and just had laser focus and just went
Yeah,
forward.
yeah. But you see what the benefit of that is and what it got you. You can see the end result. Like I said, you've worked on a lot of amazing projects, and I'm sure you still continue to work on a lot of amazing projects. And I know from the work that's coming out from the students, they're going to be working on a lot of amazing projects because, like I said, it seems like you're really putting an emphasis on the quality of the animation that's coming out there. So, like I said, I'm super excited to see not only the work coming from your students, but the programs that you're going to be releasing as well. Uh, I definitely want to. Whoops. Definitely want to make be respectful of your time. Like I said, for everybody that has jumped on, we've had a great conversation with my friend Eddie. Super talented animator. Um, if you want to connect with make sure that you do connect with him. You can find him and Griffin Academy on Facebook, Instagram, and all of these links will be in the show note. So you'll definitely be able to connect with him and find out more information on Griffin Academy and all the great courses that he's got coming out. Um, it's going to be, like I said, I'm looking forward to the courses coming out. And so appreciate you, Eddie, taking the time, to sit down and talk with me. Like I said, I appreciate one, you connected with me on LinkedIn, and two, I appreciate our friendship, bro, and just building on that.
Yeah, no worries at all, mate. I had a great time, and I know this show is gonna really blow up very soon.
Well,
Just the quality of the people you have on, your presentation, your production values, your professionalism, and just your laser focused yourself, expanding your whole network
I
and your
appreciate
just your ideas and everything. It's gonna be yeah, it's gonna be
I
big.
so
It's gonna blow up.
appreciate that. And like I said, you've definitely helped to make the show as good as it is, and connecting with people as good as you are has definitely helped me to level up the show and really, like you said, get more and more focused at making it the best I can possibly make it. And anything that I could do to help promote you and Griffin Academy, I'm there for you, bro, and appreciate you so much, man.
No
Um,
worries, mate. Thank you, and thanks for having me on. It's
oh
been
man,
fun.
appreciate that. If you could stick around for just a few minutes in the green room while I close out the show, that way I can thank you, properly. But I'd appreciate it if you could hang out for just a few minutes there, Eddie.
Sure, no worries. And thanks,
Again,
everyone.
everybody, help me thank and welcome my good friend for being on the show. Uh, Again, all his contact information will be on the show notes. But again, I appreciate you so much for being a part of the Color Emotion family and being on the show, Eddie.
No worries. Thanks for having me, mate.
All
It's been
right.
fun.
All right. Everybody, let's thank him for being on. Guys and gals, like I said, this has been another great episode. And like I said, I can't thank my friend Eddie enough for being on the show. And I hope you enjoyed him being on it as much as I've had having him on for sure. And definitely look forward to having him back on, as Griffin Academy grows and gets bigger. So super looking forward to it. Well, everybody, we've come to the end of another great episode. All I can say is, wow, it was a great episode and a great show. And I had fun, so for sure. Again, if you are one of those ones that watches on Facebook, please make sure that you Get connected with the new Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/, the color emotions. Get connected, get engaged, because the show starting next month in Facebook is going to be broadcast from there. So I don't want you to miss out on any new episodes for sure. Also, please make sure you connect with me and follow me. Get engaged in the community because I definitely want to hear from you. You can find me on all these great social channels as well. Like I said, the new website will be up in a few weeks, so a lot of great new things rolling out. Again, I highly encourage you, if you're one of those ones that are tuning in from LinkedIn or Facebook. I love you, but I would love for you to be a part of our YouTube community. That way you can check out all the past great episodes, get engaged, see all the great new content coming up, and be a part of the community is there as well. Again, we're going to be getting sponsors for the show, but we always love everyone that supports the show. So if you are so inclined to drop a few dollars in the tip jar, we love you. And love you to death. And we will be giving you a shout out on the show. So if you do support the show, whether it's through the tip jar or as a sponsor, we will be giving you a shout out on the show. So we want to thank all the people that help support the show, help me to continue to level it up and make the show and the channel bigger and better. So we definitely want to see your name on that list for sure. Man, like I said, this has been one great episode that I've had a fun doing and just enjoyed so much. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure, almost forgot, almost, but I didn't quite. Make sure that you tune in next week because it's going to be a great show next week. So looking forward to my very special guest and friend, Brian Hawkins, editor and comic book writer with Black Box Comics. It's going to be a fun show next week, so make sure you tune in as well. With that, I hope everybody has a great weekend. Hope everybody has a great and productive week. And I will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a great rest of the day, everybody.